what about the bill? You studied it. What do you think about it?
I really was really focused on not letting the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act expire. So that was numero uno, getting this thing passed. Just again, clarity of policy. People understand exactly what's happening in their taxes, and the bottom line is the tax rates are going to change, and they've been made permanent. There's a lot of great stuff in there. I think for the average American, you've got tips, no tax on tips. All these things, almost all of them, they almost all phase out at higher income levels. So over time, this is the kind of highlights of the individual side of it. So no change in the existing brackets. Standard tax deduction goes up for individual, head of household, and joint filing, and seniors 65 and over. So big tax break for seniors. Again, as long as you're not on the very high income side.
So like people with life alerts?
Yes. I've fallen and I can't get up. Yep.
All right, go ahead.
The SALT deduction went up a lot. That was the negotiation with all of the Republicans that were basically in really high tax states like California, Hawaii, Illinois, New York, New Jersey. I think there's a couple still left in those states. That was the give up for them to get this bill passed. But again, it phases out. So the SALT deduction went from 10 to 40. But it phases out. Tips over time, those are obviously more working class American benefits. Car loan deduction up to $10,000 of interest. I think it's, again, for vehicles assembled in the U.S. I think they had to have a content restriction too, minimum content restriction. But again, that phases out. So if you make a lot of money, you don't get to deduct the interest. You get these Trump accounts, which couldn't remember how much it was, but it's $5,000 that you can set up. And I think you can check a box, again, based on your income, and get the government to chip in $1,000 too, up until the child is 18.
I love that.
The gift and estate tax, Nancy, I don't know if you saw that, was made permanent at $15 million per person, and now it's indexed to inflation.
Oh, wow.
The 529 plans, which, mine are almost all gone. Thank God. Covers elementary, secondary, and homeschooling now, which is a big deal. So they expanded 529 coverage. And you get your home mortgage insurance, which most Americans do have. You get to deduct that as well, but it has an income phase out. So if you make a lot of money, you don't get it. And then the child dependent care tax credit went from, I think, 35 to 50% for all those people that have elderly parents or kids or people with special needs. You get a lot more deductibility for expenses around that too, which is great.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I mean, we have a spending other side of the equation issue, but as you've pointed out and others, to call this an increase in the deficit is wrong, because it's already the tax cuts are already in place, so there's no incremental cost.
Only a government economist or a politician would actually portray it as right. A loss or whatever, is like increase in costs. I mean, we're just making the tax cuts permanent.
Well, and it's also what they're doing with Medicaid, where they're saying that we're cutting, but it's just that the spending is actually going up. It's just not going up as much as hoped or wanted by certain segments of the government, and so they call that a cut.
And then we do means testing too. Which, by the way, it was, which has been done, we call it work, instead of welfare, it's workfare. So it's like, if you're able-bodied and you don't have a job and you're getting benefits, I don't think it's crazy to think that those people should contribute back if they're taking benefits from existing taxpayers.
And I love that there's a volunteer component added in as well, because, that's a great thing to do if you're not working. So,
and it's going to be interesting to see how big the offset is with the tariffs. So clearly the president is trying to get these tariffs in place to generate more revenues, to try to get some control on the overall spending, the net spending picture. Right. And we've already seen the tariff revenues come in much higher than before.
Yeah, $100 billion, I thought Scott Besson said year to date. So that's not nothing.
Not chopped liver.
Yeah. I like
Not that I've ever had chopped liver.
Love it. I was anemic as a child, so I used to have it for breakfast.
Oh, God.
With sauteed mushrooms. I didn't have a lot of friends.
And then there's the business side. By the way, Nancy, is pretty good too. So if you put the slide on the business tax, that was just the individual side. So the corporate side, immediate expensing. So we've got this. If you're a pass-through corporation, and the people are paying the ordinary tax rates, at least you have clarity on that. 100% immediate bonus depreciation of qualifying property, which includes the manufacturing one.
That's huge. That's huge for the economy. It's huge for the markets. It's one of the reasons why we've been overweight industrials, hoping this would happen, but also because of other reasons. This is big.
Yeah, and the tariffs will accelerate that. So it's the double hit. One, from raising tariffs will make foreign goods more expensive, which means you're going to have much more. You should have the offsetting demand for local goods. So if the demand's there and the foreign goods are more expensive, it should really help. Bring in more U.S. jobs, manufacturing. And then depreciation of R&D. We made that with no amortization. It used to be you had to amortize stuff over 30 years or crazy stuff. Section 179, 100% expensing of up to $2.5 million in qualified business equipment. Again, this is a small business.
That's awesome.
Expensing, and it phases out, and it's indexed to inflation, Nancy. They did a bunch of that, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
The 20% qualified business income deduction becomes permanent, and it increases by 3% next year. And then the manufacturing investment credit increased to 35% from 25%. So those are all really good for a lot of small businesses and American manufacturing.
It's great. Now, we've talked about this before too, but there's still 458,000 unfilled manufacturing jobs. And so, we both believe that robotics are going to be a big solution, is going to be a big solution that will solve some of that problem, but we still need to get people back working. And I think that's tied into the Medicaid. If you're able-bodied, you got to get a job. And, Bill Clinton was the first one that really put that in place. So it used to be a Democratic principle, or just an American principle, or just a societal principle. But I think that's going to be really interesting to see how we get those jobs filled, because when we globalized and we gutted manufacturing jobs, these people went on disability, they went on Medicaid, and I would love to see us getting those folks back to work. But robots are going to solve the problem. You don't have to feed them. You don't have to give them vacation. You don't have to pay benefits. You don't have to pay Social Security. Yeah. And you don't really have to give them counseling,
Oh.
So I'm eager to see where we go with that.